Hi, everybody. Welcome back to VCTV, Venture Capital TV. And I'm the host and the moderator, Sonny Mohanty, and VCTV is from LaToken. So this is my second show of the day. I'm still very excited to be on the show, hosting and moderating two special speakers on a very new topic that I haven't hosted before. Can you invest in blockchain technology without buying cryptocurrencies? So let's hear it from our speakers today, what they got to say if we can invest in blockchain technology, which is the technology, not the currency, without investing into or buying any sort of cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin being the most popular one that we hear all the time. Okay, let's just get to the speakers now. All right. Hello. Hi, Gary. Hi, Dr. Srikant. Good morning, afternoon.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi. Morning. How are you, Gary?
I'm great. I'm fantastic.
Oh, where are you dialing in from? Miami?
Now I'm in Palm Beach.
Palm Beach. Okay,
I'm
cool.
Palm Beach, Florida right now. Normally I'm in California. I actually was in California, but I'm back in Palm Beach again.
Good to know. Thank you. Dr. Srikant, hi.
Yes, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, very well.
So without an echo, I'm dialing in from the glorious country of India with 1.3 billion people, and hopes to stand out in this particular glorious country. And um, I have always been skeptical about cryptocurrency. So let's have a debatable topic, so to speak. And Gary loves a debate, right? So Gary. Let's see if we can have an adversarial process towards this particular question. It's a nice question, but let's see.
Oh, great. That's too many aspects to this. I mean, debate. I love debates. Gary, are you ready for a debate with Dr. Srikant?
Yeah, sure. I'm always ready.
By the way, let me just give you a quick introduction. I'm Dr. Srikant Parthasarathy. I act as a legal counsel for various for various Forbes 500 group, and we just minted and literally minted. It's a pun, right? I mean, we literally minted 7 billionaires in India with cryptocurrency, and I do not know where they have parked their assets. So the Indian government doesn't allow you to hold cryptocurrency. So I do not know. So I'm quite skeptical about it.
They have parked their money in the exchanges that are regulating that are sort of in operation in India, for sure,
Yeah,
or
but
not.
they can't use that. I mean, how can you withdraw it? It's like money lying idle somewhere, right? It's like $20 million just lying in some airport in Ecuador. Come and pick it up.
Well, I don't know. Okay, Gary, over to you.
Yeah. The voice audio is kind of muffled.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. It's weird. It's
is
like
it me?
I'd say, yeah, you.
Can you, Dr. Srikant? So, can you
Oh,
hear me?
we hear you now. It goes in and out.
Oh, okay. That's my speaker. That's my microphone. This thing, I guess.
You look like one of those hosts on a TV show now.
Ouch.
Okay, my name's Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur investor. I've done 17 companies. I've been involved in 2 unicorns. I love artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and cryptocurrencies. I write a lot. I've written 161 articles. My next article is about duplicating people using artificial intelligence in a replica kind of mode. I'm the CEO, co-founder, and president of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Silicon Valley. And it's great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Is it better? I'm just careful while I speak.
Yes. Yeah, it goes in and out. It's fun. When it goes out, it goes way out.
I'll have
Now
to fix this.
it just did it again, Sonny.
Okay, let me just give one sec. Sorry. Let me try and fix it. It's a bit odd. Okay. No, I can't fix it while on live, but let's just carry on. Okay. I'm going to change when I ask you questions, so I just get some time to sort of take it out. Okay, is crypto? We're talking about blockchain and investments in crypto. So I just want to start with this crypto, a new asset class. With cryptocurrency prices obviously remaining extremely volatile, even as the interest in cryptos from credible investors have been rising, as we know, the legacy financial institutions, including big banks, sort of financial institutions, big investors, private investors, they have been launching and investing into new crypto products and services. So crypto is undoubtedly in the top of minds of everybody, right? So what do you think, Gary? What's your take on the future of, let's say, the most popular cryptocurrency, Bitcoin? Let's just start with that.
Well, I mean, the situation is when you look at the cryptocurrencies, you got to look at what type of development is behind them. How many people do they really have developing? What kind of a support network do they have? And so, if we look at how the world has changed over the last 2 years, and how now coming into the Delta virus and now the next version of coronavirus, we need to have these kind of currencies to be able to make our lives easier, to make transactions smoother and faster. And at the same time, as a topic, can you invest in blockchain without buying crypto? Absolutely. I mean, the situation with blockchain, think about our supply chain. We couldn't even get, and it's starting to happen again, Sonny, the roll of toilet paper thing, by the way.
Right.
So now people are stocking up on toilet paper here again. You know what I mean? I feel like Groundhog Day. But the good news is I got probably 12 packs up in my garage. But so we didn't have transparency. We didn't have a look into our supply chain, and we need to be able to understand. So having blockchain really gives us clarity around accountability, having insight, privacy, things that are really important to us. So it's not necessarily essential to have cryptocurrencies, but the blockchain can be used. Think about for health records. We talk
Yeah.
here. We talk about the privacy and data security. So
Yeah.
there's really an evolution taking place in terms of blockchain. It's really incredible the kind of uses that we're seeing. So cryptocurrencies, absolutely. I mean, we've already taken ground with it, but there's a lot of fluff out there too. There's a lot of these cryptocurrencies that are they're just it's like Dutch tulips. They just move up and down. I think we've talked about that before with Dr. Srikant. And at the same time, we're going to change. Our society's changing. It makes it a whole lot easier to transfer money. It makes it a whole lot
Yeah.
easier to be able to have access to your capital, as long as we have security. That's the next thing, to make sure that we don't get hacked.
Yeah, I think security is everywhere. Traditional banking, financial institutions, fintechs,
Yeah,
anywhere money
especially
is
with
considered.
quantum computers coming online.
Yeah.
Look at all the ransomware attacks since we last spoke. I mean, it's unbelievable. Companies, Colonial Energy got hacked. 46% of the energy on the East Coast of the United States was shut down because of this ransomware attack. So these attacks are happening from nefarious places everywhere. And the situation is it's a dawn of a new era. We kind of come up with some new decentralized technologies to be able to take care of it.
Absolutely. I've taken my microphone out. A mic
Yes.
here. Okay, great. Thank you. So, Dr. Srikant, over to you. What do you think is the future of cryptocurrencies? And let's just talk about the most popular cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. What do you think? What's the take? I mean, Gary obviously has expressed the future looks bright, but obviously there are some kind of not so bright points, like volatility, quite volatile asset class, and security obviously touches that. So what's your take?
So, money becomes money when two people or a few people recognize that as tender, right? Or it's authorized by a particular government. So, look at your dollar bill. look at your currency which is issued in your country, and it is basically a promissory note. Like let me bring in a legal angle over here. And what it basically says is, I promise to pay the bearer of this particular tender, or this particular holder of this particular sheet of paper, or this particular cotton, a value of 500 or $100 or $10 or $20. So on that premise, when I start, crypto basically is just a class of assets which is being created out of the whole mechanism of, I would say, money which doesn't exist in your wallet, right? So let's start from that particular premise. Now, at the moment, the transactions which have been hitting from a unified payment interface point of view globally, it's quite high. And it was quite high. I mean, you would argue that if somebody were to, if I were to play a devil's advocate, and you would argue that a credit card is equivalent to, I mean, it's not a promissory note, right? It basically says that your credit limit is and so, and you can spend for so and so. So the reason why I'm starting with this particular limb of argument is basically that crypto, however noble that it may be, and however secure that it may be, it still does not allow people to understand the mechanics of it. And when people do not understand the mechanics of something, and which I've spoken at length with Mr. Fowler, Gary, I'm going to call you Gary. You don't have to call me Dr. Srikant, please. I beseech upon you. When we discussed this with Gary earlier, um, is that when governments do not understand something, they obviously hate it. So that's the flip side of not. I mean, would you wrong the government for doing so? No, I wouldn't, because I find miscreants, I find perpetrators, I find illegal use of. I mean, the greater good, right? Government is about the greater good. So unless you have the government assuring and telling that, look, I am going to accept this particular money as money, and this is going to be money as per the blah 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 act, and uh, it is going to be I mean, it is going to be $100 bill is going to be $100 bill. So imagine a situation, hypothetical, albeit not so irrational situation. Imagine a situation where you have loaded your UPI, right, your wallet, and suddenly what happens is you've got your crypto wallet, and what happens is you've loaded your wallet by, say, $100, and tomorrow you check back the wallet and that $100 is gone and it becomes $50. Imagine the surprise that you will have, and imagine the equivalent surprise that you will have if that $100 becomes $200 tomorrow. That is the fundamental basis where the governments disagree with crypto, right? I do not see that as a primary source of transacting money, primarily because of the fact that there is so much volatility in it. I hope
Yeah,
I don't know if it sounds rational,
yeah.
but your $500 bill or your $100 bill is going to stay $100. It's not going to go one at one or $99, right? I mean, that I
So
find
the
a little
point, oh,
volatile.
sorry, Dr. Srikant, let me just interrupt you a bit. When the $100 worth of crypto, be it a US Tether, be it a Bitcoin, or any of the popular ones, stays in my wallet offline, that doesn't fluctuate. Only when it goes into an investment account, like a trading account. I have they have different sort of accounts where I put my money in, I liquidate, I pour my liquidity in, right? I have different sort of spot wallets and main wallet and blah blah where I trade. I just that's where the fluctuation volatility comes into play. But I just
See that
still
as a thing. The question is, I mean, I'm not arguing on that particular point. Sunny, what I'm trying to say over here is, if you want to be the last mile crypto, if you want to pay your Walmart with for a gallon of milk with crypto, you have to have some kind of wallet, and that wallet will basically disburse 0.00001 bitcoins out to get a gallon of milk. And we discussed this earlier. And imagine if you have to spend more than 0.00001 bitcoins to get the same gallon of milk. Imagine the inflation, and the economists maybe will be going bonkers.
So the answer to that is a tether. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. Gary, maybe just getting the okay. So again, so do we think Bitcoin? Let's just bring back our focus to Bitcoin. Do you think Bitcoin is going to be transformative in the payment sector, or is it a store of value, a digital sort of gold? What's the value proposition of Bitcoin? Is it like a use case in the payments, or is it a gold but a digital gold? What's your what's the value proposition, Gary? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think everything is going to change, Sonny. I think that there's another realm, another level that's going to come out. I just wrote an article in Forbes 2 days ago,
Okay.
and we're looking at. I think so from my standpoint, think about our lives today. You use Google, you use Facebook, you use LinkedIn, but they're using your data, right, for all kinds of different ways. What I believe is that the next level of our lives is going to be the value of who Sonny Mohanty is, and how much value your data has, and yet you own that value. So what I see is really the next level of this, and that's some of the things that we're working on today, is like a tempest. And so to be able to go out and have that value and really tokenize it. So if we go into a Facebook in the next iteration of our lives, we're going to own that data. So if it goes out to advertisers, you're going to actually get those tokens based on how much your data is worth. And it's going to start to be able to be bartered and transferable in all kinds of different ways, much like airline miles are today, except imagine an entire system set up like that. So I see that the next level is really how can we do that to streamline our lives, and that value can be spread universally in different ways. And we're actually, I'm working on building some of those things today because it's very interesting for me. And I see Bitcoin as one of the, Bitcoin is great. Bitcoin is one part of the answer to the question, but I don't believe it has they're from my perspective, they're just some things that we could do better with it. And it's not evenly distributed around the world. So we need to come up with some other kind of systems and take into account the entire, ways that we transact with data. Data is the key. Data is going to be the key going forward because that's really where the value is. And because we're inundated with it, we need to be able to own it, and we need to get some value for it. And you're going to see other types of coins come out addressing those issues.
Perfectly said, Gary. Totally agree. Thank you so much. Dr. Srikant, what's your insights, views?
Could you rephrase the question for me? I mean,
so the reason I'm asking, we're going to go to alternative for investments into crypto. So is Bitcoin a store of value or use case in payments, or is it a digital gold? What's your views on that?
Yeah, I don't know. It can swing. It's one of those things that can swing two ways, right? I mean, there's no, there's, there's a clear right and a clear left. There's no alt right or a alt left or a center insofar as Bitcoin is concerned. Uh, I feel that Bitcoin, if it replaces, it will replace the entire economy. It'll be a complete change of. Bitcoin, as in any cryptocurrency, will be a complete change of the way that we see payments altogether, right? So I think from that particular standpoint, it is going to be transformative. So I agree with you, and I'm with you on the point that it is going to be transformative. What I do not possibly agree with you is possibly the fact that whether it is going to be a digital gold. Um the tangibility of gold is what made it quite popular. And if you look at the history of US, and how we found oil. I mean, there's a very famous book called Oil, and there was a particular movie called There Will Be Blood, which is based on that particular book, which is the liquid gold, right? The oil was liquid gold. So from that particular standpoint, I do I see that as an asset class which will be the future. I do not know, primarily because of the fact that I am unaware of how much it has penetrated the let me put it this way: the white market, it is still there in the black market, as in it still exists in, we are in a live show, and it still exists in domains which are illegal. And cryptocurrency definitely exists, the activities which are illegal, where you can't trace it and you can't put it on a particular person as such. But let me point your attention to
Cash, if cash is used for illegal purpose, can you trace it?
uh, see, the transaction is traceable, right? I mean, you can still trace as to from where the source occurred. Insofar as cash is concerned, I at least know how much cash is out there. Insofar as crypto is concerned, it's like everybody is printing cash. So I do not know how much of crypto exists. So if I do not have a control over what is out there, so how do I control an inflation? That's why I said the economists, the Raghuram Rajans, and your IMF economists are going to be uh, are going to be. I don't think they're going to be happy hearing this particular statement that crypto is going to rule the world. I'm sorry, I'm being pessimistic over here, but let the point I'm trying to make over here is it the digital gold? Could be if the G20 agrees, and the G7 agrees, and it could be if China and India agrees, but we're still far away. And I have made this particular statement earlier as well. You need to get half of the population into crypto, and then I mean half the population resides in China and India. So if you have got them in crypto, then you have basically covered the population perspective, right? So closing my thought without going on a tangent, closing my thought is that I do not see crypto adoption being a substantial adoption coming in from any banks or any financial institutions, primarily because of the fact that they're afraid that they will it will derail the economy, primarily. And already haven't we seen enough of derailment with all this geopolitical issues and with COVID and other issues, and there's not a headache that they want to carry, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were the government, I wouldn't. If I were the finance minister, I wouldn't want this particular headache.
But was it gold so highly volatile before it matured into an institutional asset class?
Gold as an asset class, I could. It's a. I know exactly how much of output is there. I know exactly. I mean, there used to be currencies which used to be linked to gold, right? And we have moved away from that. So the traditional psychology of linking a currency to, I mean, then again, if Bitcoin becomes or any crypto becomes legal, then you're going to be having a currency which is going to be linked to crypto, and we are going to be keeping on mining crypto unless we run out of crypto. In gold, I know exactly when I'm going to run out of, or in oil, I know exactly when I'm going to run out of. In crypto, I don't know. So that's my apprehension, because of the fact that I do not know how much of utility and demand. Now I'm going to don my economist hat. and how much of utility and demand is there. So the curve goes in a spin, right?
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Srikant and Gary. So, okay, we've spoken a lot about Bitcoin. Let's just talk about how to invest in Bitcoin by not directly investing into Bitcoin. What are the different indirect investments alternatives are there for safer crypto bets? For instance, I want to invest into crypto, but I don't want to directly invest into a Bitcoin or a Ethereum or a Dogecoin or a meme coin, but I still want to hold some of that asset class in a different form, which is much more stable, less volatile, much more safer and secure. Gary.
Well, I mean, if you want it more secure, then you shouldn't be investing to begin with, right? It's probably,
Right.
listen, it's volatile. There's no question about it. It's going to go up and down and in and out. It goes up to 65, down to 30. It's not this is like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's a moving target, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. So one of the ways you can do it is by some type of index funds that go across a lot of different cryptocurrencies, so that you're taking a bit of that risk out and hoping that, because if you got 1,000 cryptocurrencies, there's some in there that just aren't good.
Yeah.
Again, the best way to look at it, when you talk to some of the wealthiest folks that have crypto, one of the things they look at is how many developers are behind that cryptocurrency. And if you look at Ethereum, there are a lot of developers behind it. And really, what is it for? So I would look at that. And if you look at some of the other coins, the lesser coins, they have very few. So use that as one of the guides. Get into an index fund. But if you're nervous about it, don't get into crypto. If you don't like shifts, you can't be looking at it every second going into your Coinbase account. It'll drive you crazy. You got to let it go. It's like Indiana Jones, the next to the last movie, just let it go and don't be looking at it all the time.
Indiana Jones.
It's going to be volatile for some time until whenever you have a new technology, whenever you have something new, there's a lot of volatility in the beginning until things get sorted out. Eventually, there'll be some of the main cryptocurrencies, and we'll start to see that happen as it's happening now with Bitcoin, Ethereum. But as I've said, I think there's going to be more. And I think there's going to be a lot of falling out. The Dutch tulip phenomenon, where I don't if you know about Dutch tulips, right? They had tulips, and people started buying them like crazy, and there was really no value in them. And all of a sudden, when they realized it, the bottom fell out. So, what we want to do is we want to look at the cryptocurrencies. We're like with Bitcoin, where banks are starting to buy into it. With Ethereum, where people with smart contracts and understanding where Ethereum really fits really is the value of it. And then don't buy into the hype. If somebody starts promoting a certain cryptocurrency and it starts fluctuating up and down, be really careful, because that's how you get, what do they say? Pigs get slaughtered, right? And that's one of the ways that happens. Don't be greedy.
Don't be greedy. Absolutely. Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Dr. Srikant, as per you, what are the other alternatives for safer crypto bets?
At the moment, pornography seems to be accepting crypto quite easily. So uh, the prominent pornography sites have almost have registered 4 times their site access or site views, and premium subscriptions have apparently started, is what I read in the news, and they are accepting crypto as a means of payment. Um, Pornography is going to exist. Pornography is still legal. It may be illegal in certain territories or certain jurisdictions, but I don't know. To lighter vein, I would heavily invest in a company which is focused on pornography, possibly.
So the better way to
Hey, now we know your investment strategy.
So I know where Dr. Srikant is investing his money, basically, be it cash, fiat or crypto, right? I would obviously
No,
have
no,
to.
I'm not investing. So please be mindful of the flags behind me. I'm not investing. I'm just saying that the alternative route is, for
Okay.
somebody to make an investment would be a suggested way would be, it's not legal. I mean, I would say, if you're hell bent on using crypto, go to pornography, go to one of those sites and
Yeah, there are a lot of
use it.
startups in this space. I have seen, because obviously we work obviously at an
You've
extremely
seen startups or
senior
you've seen pornography?
project. Sorry.
You've seen startups or you've seen pornography? I mean, what have you
So
seen?
startups, yes, I have seen many startups who are in that space using crypto as a mode of payment. Hello. What's so funny about it? Gary, I don't know.
Uh, you're going in and out, Sonny. You're going in and out again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's going in. It comes in and out. It echoes really bad.
I think Dr. Srikant put himself on mute. So can you hear me?
Yeah. Now I hear you.
Yeah, I think it was going for so I don't know what was happening, but it's
Okay.
gone now. I can hear you clearly, Gary.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So my next question is, let's just talk about a little bit of the investors, right? I mean, we're talking about obviously this is how can you invest into blockchain, which is a technology, without investing into cryptocurrencies. Let's just start with a bird's eye view of digital asset investor base. How has it evolved, Gary?
How has the digital asset investor base involved, or how does blockchain
Yeah.
involved, or what?
So digital asset investor base, how has it evolved?
Well, I mean, the situation it's evolved because people, we've gone through the educational phase. People see how much. I mean, when you get Bitcoin going from 8,000 to, I don't know what it is today, 40,000, 60. There's so much visibility. You got Elon Musk talking about uh, Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin. That's a funny name though, Doge. I don't know. It's like somebody came up with a joke, you know what I mean? Because I don't know, something's dodgy, but anyhow, but there's a lot of visibility. People understand it. We're now starting to see it come into the mainstream. So the investor base has started to become more mainstream now. And so now you're seeing the evolution because it's gone from, purported nefarious characters to people who are actually starting to use it and transfer money. And I mean, I do it too, right? So now I'm transferring money around. And the only reason to do it is because it's a whole lot easier. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I had somebody that owed me money. One of the companies had to pay me recently. And the situation is I got them on the line and they did the payment like on the spot. I realized it in the account, I don't know, 5 minutes later. And so just a whole lot easier. I didn't go after through the rigmarole. I got it. Everything was taken care of and done for our accounting, et cetera. So it's easy use. Once people start to understand, so in terms of the investor base, they're the educational phase, they're going through that. They're understanding they can invest. But it's for a normal investor, you got to make sure that you have only a portion of your money allocated to it because it is so volatile today. And you can't be careful about throwing too much big of a percentage of your investment in there because you don't want to be, if you haven't done it before, it's going to be a wild ride, right? It's not like some, I don't want to say stable, but it's extremely volatile. So you just have to buy into that and close your eyes.
Absolutely. I think totally right on those points, Gary. Thank you so much. Dr. Srikant?
No, from a future perspective, I don't know. I mean, if there exists a future, either see, I am. Let's be pragmatic over here. if crypto had to die, it would have been dead by now. Since it is not, then I think there exists something in it which is making it not die. So possibly what we'll see in the future is just an evolution of crypto in various formats, and possibly in something which could um, come to terms with the economic parameters, that it will not reshuffle, or it will not I would say rebalance, so to speak, right? And the world is bothered more about the economic balance, and we are still talking about economically poor countries, weak countries, and then we have the high GDP countries, and so on and so forth. So I think when the balance has been struck, I think crypto has a market. I think for that, crypto miners and crypto asset dealers have to keep in mind that it is quite a risky proposition, and since it's a risky proposition, they need to come to terms with the governments or I would say regulatory bodies per se, to ensure that it stays as an asset class. So I think there's a bit of lobbying that needs to be done, lobbying in a good sense, that needs to be done for crypto. I mean, otherwise it will be as short term as it exists right now. I mean, that is the worst thing that can happen, right? uh, the more the short term, the more the IRRs, the more riskier it gets. So for it to be a stable asset class, I think it needs to have the buy-in from various regulatory bodies.
So beyond the ease of access and considerations, what are some of the security and custodial challenges the institutions are facing when transacting in this crypto space today, and how are these going to evolve?
Can I
Gary,
go first?
sorry.
Can I go first on that?
Yeah, sure,
Sure.
go ahead.
The reason why I wanted to go first, Gary, is that I have a very simple answer for it. Insofar as the custodian relationship is concerned, the custodians themselves, they don't know how to take custody of it. So I don't know if that education or that knowledge has been quite democratized. Now, if you hand me a $500 or $100 bill, or you pay me a certain amount which hits my bank account, I know how to secure it, or I know how to protect it. Uh, when it comes to Bitcoin, I rely on the custodian to actually protect it, and the custodian somewhere makes a somewhere makes a error. I lose the money, and I will sue the custodian for making that particular error. And the custodians do not want to take that particular risk. So you have an error. I mean, you have a risk of the currency itself actually fluctuating, and then you have a risk of the custodian actually losing it, or losing it slash not knowing how to protect it, which is what I would consider to be a biggest risk.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to talk risk first, and then we move to other blockchain startups. Okay, Gary, your views on that question.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is there's risk, there's no question about it. But if you have a debit card and your debit card number gets stolen, here in the States, you're not going to get your money, you don't get your money back. On a credit card, yeah, on a debit card, no, you still have the same kind of risk. So the situation, and if you have money in your wallet and you lose your wallet, you lose your wallet. So the situation is, the challenge is we need to be aware that there are cybersecurity risks whenever you have any kind of currency that's online, because of all the scams that are out there now. I mean, yesterday, well, there's a lot. My bank was saying there's a lot of, they called yesterday, a lot of scams out there where people are, basically phishing, get exact information about your company, and then trying to fish to get you to send funds in, but they look exactly the same. They're really incredible. And so the problem is we have cybersecurity risks. People can penetrate the accounts. Look at all these ransomware attacks. Look at all these penetrations that have been happening. It isn't just limited to cryptocurrency. And so whenever you have cash, you're going to have the same kind of situation. You leave your money someplace, somebody steals it. It's your challenge. When you have it in a bank, absolutely, somebody breaks into the bank, you generally would get your money back. In the States, sure. But we're in a different era. As I said, we're going to start owning our own data. The money is really in our control. It's what we do with it. If we have it a Coinbase account, so we feel secure. And again, these groups that are coin-based exchanges, etc., are now getting more developed. They're more secure than they were before. They're better than they were before. Imagine, 5 years ago when you had cryptocurrency, you didn't know where to put the money, and you lose your keys, you're done. Now it's a little bit different, and it'll continue to evolve. It's going to happen. It's just in what way, shape, or form, and when is the more of the mass adoption going to take place? And I believe it's happening now. Is it going to be blockchain or Ethereum? Remains to be seen. I think there's going to be other interesting cryptocurrencies come out to be able to replace it. And again, it's you got India, you got China, but remember, there's 1.3 billion people in Africa, and it's one of the under 30 population that's growing and a lot of resources. So the world is changing. The population of planet's going to go from 8 billion to 13 billion by the end of this century. And so we're going to need to be able to exchange more freely. Remember, intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities aren't. We need to democratize those opportunities, and cryptocurrency is one of the ways to do it, to make it easier for them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary and Dr. Srikant, talking about cryptocurrencies. Let's just shift our focus towards the blockchain startups. So what are some of the promising areas that we see that blockchain as a technology is going to be very useful, helpful, beneficial as compared to the traditional way of doing business? And are you looking to any potential blockchain startup in the space, minus the cryptocurrency element, to invest into? Gary, you can take that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always looking for those startups that are, as I said, supply chain's really interesting because we've gotten creamed during this pandemic. We understand that we didn't have insight into the supply chain. Having a ledger to understand what's actually happening and how to be able to course correct is important. Healthcare, smart contracts, privacy and security is really important. So blockchain in those kind of areas. I mean, blockchain, whenever you need accountability, whenever you have a wide group that you need to be able to access, that's when blockchain becomes really interesting. In banking opportunities all through banking in terms of contracts. Real estate, think about when you're doing a real estate transaction on a global basis, having the blockchain and these smart contracts to be able to pull triggers. Money gets contract gets signed, money gets sent. I mean, it streamlines processes. We're in a dawn of a new era with that too, because now we're starting to see these wider applications of the blockchain in all kinds of different areas, because it makes it easier and it makes it safer. Today, it's going to be obsolete though with quantum computers. By the way, when quantum computers come online, we're going to have some challenges because it's going to be able to break the blockchain. In fact, as early as 2022, quantum computers could crack Bitcoin between 2022 and 2027.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you, Gary, for sharing those insights. Next, let's just move on to Dr. Srikant. Are you also looking to sort of potential startups in the blockchain space using that technology to invest or advise your clients to invest into?
So this is what we used to do in in sales optimization, we used to do something called we used to hear something called black hat and white hatting. So I think startups which are white hatting the blockchain space and using it for a good purpose and using it for the purpose of securing certain or able to ascertain the end trail of a particular transaction. For example, the biggest uh, funder of a startup, which can give you absolute transparency of the entire process of where your money has originated and where it has been spent, would be the government. The government would want to know because it wants to tax it. Look at it from a stakeholder's perspective. The government is the most I would say interested party in this particular chain of events, because the fact that the government wants to know exactly where you're spending and how you're spending, and what's the source of income, and so that they can find out intelligence units by, I mean, there is something called a financial intelligence unit to find out where your money originated and to curb the black money in the market, right? So that the cash is not out there. So I think the startups which are right now, if they are ethical and they're white hatting the blockchain process, so that the job of the government becomes a little easier to track money per se, would be the startups that would be the billion-dollar startups of the future.
Okay, right. I just want to ask because obviously government from government I remember this thing. So I just want to ask last question before we wrap up the show today. How do regulators how are regulators treating crypto assets today? Are they treating as securities or commodities, currencies, or something else?
Are you asking me, Sonny, or are you asking?
Anyone,
I mean,
Gary?
the situation is, I think it remains to be seen. I think it's, they're not treating it as a currency because, from my perspective, uh, so if you've got your money in your crypto, I mean, in one sense, you can make a lot of money in cryptocurrencies, right? You invest in a Bitcoin at 20,000, it goes up to 40. All of a sudden, you're making money. So it's almost like you have a trading account. At the same time, the amount of money that they charge when you're going down through some of these exchanges, the percent that they charge is atrocious, right? They're not. They have this high charge, and then um, so we've got to somehow come in line with some of these charges that are out there with the exchanges. I think it remains to be seen. I think they look at them primarily as a currency, but in some sense they're looking at them as securities too. It has to be defined. We have not all the laws are in place. Gensler, who's now in the U.S., happens to be one of the top experts in crypto, is going to give us some more insight. So but it's evolving. The good news is that it's a way for businesses to transact smoother, and they realize that. The other side is, how do you control it and understand it? And, you'd be surprised, I believe, Sonny, when you figure out how much the government really does know about where your cryptocurrencies are. It's not like it's like you think. It's not like, oh, I'm going to move this around. They really do know, really know, So the situation is, it'll evolve over the next couple of years, and there'll be some people that have challenges because they come up with some of these cryptos and hype them up, hype, and create a problem because people buy in, and then pump and dump kind of situation. You're going to see more enforcement on that area, and then you'll start to see these cryptocurrencies start to go mainstream. And then as it's happening already, large corporations, individuals, high net worth folks, city of Miami, you're going to state of Florida, you'll start to see people start to adapt it. And as Miami's doing, use it in different ways, right? Payments in Bitcoin, etc. And it's happening. It's going to take a bit longer. The systems have to be put in place.
Absolutely. Very bullish about it as well. Thank you so much, Gary. Dr. Srikant.
No, I think I would agree with Gary on this because there is a wait and watch philosophy the government, the regulatory bodies are also saying. On one hand, they are finding merit in crypto as such, and at the other hand, they are quite apprehensive on the fact that they do not know what crypto can bring. I mean, they do not know what the side effect would be. It's like the COVID vaccine, right? I mean, don't you think we vaccinate ourselves? Do we know what side effect that the vaccine is going to give? Um so, from that particular perspective, I think the regulatory bodies are going to be a little more, slightly more toned down and pessimistic about crypto as compared to other fiat. So I think it'll take a long time for regulatory bodies to actually adopt, unless some minor somewhere is, or Elon Musk is basically reaching out to these regulatory bodies and saying that, look, I give you the comfort and I'll give you a guarantee of my whatever $1 billion that I have against this particular crypto.
Wow. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for sharing your views and I mean, the crypto getting sort of nice comparison into COVID vaccination. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Shrikant and Gary, for your sharing your views today about this topic. It's a new topic for this month, and we're gonna discuss this topic with more speakers as well this month. So yeah, I'm gonna have more insights. So I had great fun. I hope you too had great fun as well. It was a three people panel today. So just wrap up the show with some good, closing remarks. Gary, over to you.
Yeah. No, this is a great time. Our world is changing. Africa's rising. Democratization of opportunities. The pandemic has really helped us to be able to digitally transform. I'm excited, encouraged about it, and don't look inward, look outward. There's opportunities out there for startups and investors. Look around the world, look globally. Um, and sometimes you'll find them. I found AI companies and parts of Africa that I never thought I would find them in incredible companies. So look out there. That's part. It's like as I said, Indiana Jones mentality. Go out there and explore. You can reach me, Gary Fowler, on LinkedIn or Twitter. Check out my shows. I'm on iHeartRadio. I'm all over now on things, but it'd be great. Go out there and stay happy, stay positive, and keep smiling.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gary. Awesome. Let's hear from Dr. Shrikant. Closing thoughts before we wrap up the show.
No, I continue. So whatever pessimism that I showed about crypto, I think we can keep that aside, and I end it with an optimistic note that uh, maybe my son would be using crypto at some point, and maybe crypto and the regulators meet somewhere at a middle path, and are able to settle their issues together. And I don't think that particular stage is far away, because all you need to do is you need to a cryptocurrency needs to look out of the short termism that it is inbuilt with right now. So the moment it thinks crypto miners and crypto asset class or crypto asset owners think long term about crypto, I think then we would have struck a balance. Long termish is what I think the positivity starts from there, right?
Absolutely. So we are positive about the future of crypto, seems like, in a summary. So yeah, thank you so much, Gary and Dr. Shrikant. Viewers of VCTV, thanks for watching, tuning in. I'll be back again tomorrow on another episode of VCTV. Till then, as Gary always says, stay happy, keep smiling. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye bye.